Hello everyone. Today I will be speaking about the latest news. The first I want to explain you the editorial written by wife of Sonam Wangchuk named Gitanjali. He has given a different perspective for the protest which is going on demanding the resignation of Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan. She explained it very well from a point of view of an educator. She wrote about their dreams, their goals, which they both, Gitanjali and Sonam Wangchuk, were taking since they met. She was describing about a visit in Puducherry, about an ashram where she get to know the education has real life implications. She mentioned about the two NGOs, the two educational institutions they are running. First one is the Ladakh SOCL, if I'm correct, and the second one is HIAL. The full form is Hindustan. The the full form I forget. Let it go. So she was describing about the real implication of education in the practical world. She described that the traditional education, the conventional education of India is not up to mark enough to produce such youth that is market ready or job ready. He and Gitanjali, when they met, they have common goal to make their region, that is Ladakh, the most vivid educational framework. So there, she has given the point of view which is telling about you get to know there are a curious, urgent need to reintroduce and reform our education system. She was giving the view that today, as Sonam Wangchuk, Sonam Wangchuk is in his 23rd day of protest for the youth of India, for the student of India. She mentioned that everyone is looking to protest in the view of a political phenomena, but it is not a political phenomena. People are saying so because now from those repeated for those unimportant subjects are converting into transforming into the education as nationally discussed subject for now. So she said she said that people are saying it is as a politically motivated protest, but it is not like this because she vividly mentioned that work of an educator is to educate the students, not to do a long fast for such kind of demand. The day which count in the fast and the protest is the loss to those individuals whom they can teach for the better future of their personal life and India's growth as well. The two NGOs SOCL and HIAL they are running, they are like redeveloping, rebuilding the education framework which is very practical, which is very applicable in this economic, socio-economic system of India. As she mentioned that it is the loss of the youth if government is not listening, not acknowledging the efforts of youth and how they perceive the education and the educational institutions and the whole environment, the whole system. Therefore, he stated and concluded the view that if the educators like Sonam Wangchuk is engaging in the protests while their most prominent work is to teach a student, educate them, prepare them for their upcoming future. It is loss of those youth, but more the loss of the nation. The second topic of my conversation is US Iran war. It is about making the three F's: fuel, forex, and food buffer. In the article, the writer mentioned in the article the writer asserted that many developing nations are looking for food security, looking for forex reserve. There should be consistency in the forex reserve. They are ensuring this. Fuel, which is the hot pot of the article, where the writer mentioned that the Strait of Hormuz is responsible for 1/5 of total petroleum, total crude oil export, and it is choking due to US-Iran war. So the price of crude oil has been increasing, but due to the coordination of various countries, they are trying their best to maintain the price of crude oil fair enough so that countries can afford. It is still lower than the 2008 recession. Therefore, they are kind of delivered 750 million, uh, I think so, million barrel from March April 2026 to June July 2026. Many countries are now conservative in their manner to use crude oil because of the war. About food security, as Indian Government Food Corporation of India ensuring 750 metric ton of grains along with sufficient amount of pulses as a reserve for upcoming unseen disaster. So in the article, the clear idea was to preserve, was to secure fuel, forex reserves, and the food for the citizens. In the paper, the third article is about some justification by former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, Umar Abdullah. He stated that how the news articles are biased and not explicit from the view of how he expressed his thoughts, his words at a time, at the time. So he was clearing himself, justifying himself by putting the whole context of what he said, which are manipulated or misjudged by the readers of article. So he was justifying the same. The last at about how how textile industry of India is performing with respect to countries like the leading countries like China at number one, Bangladesh at number two, Vietnam, and then India. In the article, the writer underscored four to five pillars for the for the redemption of India's textile industry. She mentioned about the historical achievement of medieval India, where in the province of Bengal, now West Bengal, around it is around 15% of textile products are were running from the Bengal province only during the tenure of Mughal Empire. Murshidabad as the center for this large amount of production. But in the contemporary world, where the machines took over the manufacturing of clothes, and this is because the innovation and because of continuous market demand and determinants for the production, India is lacking behind. India's textile industry is lacking behind. So for it, he stated she stated some solutions like working on infrastructure, ecosystem building, support from government, single window clearance. He gave example of by comparing how to increase productivity during any holiday period, any festival period like Dashera or Chhat Puja. She described that most of the textile industry are placed in either Surat, Bengaluru or Kolkata, and all these industries are dependent on migrated labor from Bihar and Uttar Pradesh. During festive season, they return back to their home to participate, to join the festival. That time the demand always high but the supply lacks. Therefore, she suggested that, like, there is an industry, I'm forgetting the name of the textile industry, which is recently set up in Bihar only, so that those laborers will not have to leave the process of production and return to their homes, because it is understandable that this will, if the industry is in their state, the process of production and the desire of the labor both will be fulfilled. Therefore, it is important to maintain the supply at the festive season as well. At last, the cricketing news, which I loved the most about the articles. There was a statement I want to quote by Jatin Sapru. He stated, and I quote, Rohit Sharma replied the questions of about his future through his history. Means he played a vintage knock, a historic knock of 138 in 110 ball with a strike rate of 125, and clear all the doubts about his future about 2027 ODI World Cup. That's all.